Hello, this is Crispin Flintoff from Not the Andrew Marr Show. Before this video starts, I'd just like to ask if you'd subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because we will be covering the general election from a totally different perspective from what you get from the mainstream media. We'll be talking about the candidates who are taking on Labour and the Tories and pushing them all the way. So please subscribe and get updates. I'm really pleased to be joined on Not the Andrew Marr Show by Alexander Martin. How are you doing, Alexander?
I'm very well, yes. Thank you for asking.
And you're standing in. We haven't had a Scottish candidate before, so I'm really pleased that you're here because we'd like to hear more about this. But you're standing in Edinburgh South against Ian Murray, the Labour MP. He was the only Labour MP in 2015, so he's got a few more around him now. So can you tell us what led you to decide to stand?
Fundamentally, I was involved with the lobbying group of Ian Murray through the Palestine movement. So we had a group of us, many people from kind of the big organizations in Scotland, SPSC, EJEC now, these are the big organizing groups of the Palestine demos in Edinburgh. And we were kind of looking for a party to back against Ian Murray because we all wanted him out. I mean, he abstained from the ceasefire vote, last year, despite 75% of the British public wanting one. And obviously that's morally, reprehensible one, but it's also anti-democratic, because it was very clearly against the will of his constituents. But what happened was we went down the list of candidates for the other parties, the Lib Dems, the SNP, Greens, etc.
Yeah.
And we couldn't see any of those having a good chance of winning in that particular seat for a variety of reasons that I'm happy to go into if you'd like. So we made the decision to put up a candidate, and that candidate's me. And obviously now it's much broader than just the Palestine issue. We're focusing on health, environment, all the other things that Labour are, I'm sure going back on.
Why do you think none of those other parties could defeat him?
Yeah, so let's go down the list. So, I mean, firstly, Edinburgh South is a very affluent seat. It's the third most affluent seat in the United Kingdom, right? There's only two others in London that are more affluent by average earnings. So the average man in Edinburgh South makes £1,000 a week. There's that kind of seat, and there's a lot of also English people that live in the area and they work in kind of finance and things in Edinburgh. So the problem with Edinburgh South is the parties like the Greens and the SNP, they can't really legitimately challenge someone like Murray because they're strong on independence, pro-independence. And because there's so many English people that live there, you would regard it as a unionist seat. Right. The referendum in 2014 was about 2/3 of the constituents voted against Scottish independence.
Right.
So that kind of counts out the pro-independence parties. And then you look at the other options, you've got obviously the Tories, the Conservative Party, but even in affluent areas, I mean, I've been knocking on people's doors today and the Conservatives are pretty disliked for obvious reasons. People see that they've mismanaged the economy for a long time now. So they're out of the picture. You've got then the Lib Dems. Again, they're kind of struggling out of the coalition with the Tories. And people still associate them with austerity and that kind of thing. So They don't have a good chance of winning either. So you're left with really no option for a party there that can have a legitimate challenge to Murray under the Labour Party.
Right. Okay. And so how long have you been politically active? What's your history in activism?
Yeah. So activism, I kind of separate out activism, I guess, from politics. I mean, I've been involved in the Palestine movement for, I would say, probably 5 or 6 years now. I was in a number of direct action groups related to Palestine, some of which I've mentioned, some of which are, you know, there's some questionable things about them with the law, so I won't go into them.
Right.
But they
I think
do
I know
good
what you're
stuff.
talking about.
Yes, I mean, there's certain groups that will do things, you know, like blocking the arms companies, you know, blockading them.
I know what you mean.
Right, they'll do things like that, and I may or may not have been involved in some of them, but you know, we'll leave that for your audience to work that out. But anyway, so I was kind of doing that side of things, but it was only 4 months ago that I really thought I'm going to run. I'm going to go into the political space. It was purely on the basis that this general election really offers, I would say, a once in a generation opportunity, because the public are so over the main parties. I mean, that's what I'm hearing on the ground. I mean, I'm spending time outside supermarkets and things, handing out leaflets. I mean, people are just, you know, across the board, they don't want anything to do with them. So I think now more than ever, we can get people with real actual principles who may be independents or they may be for small parties. People actually are there because they want to make a change, you know, and people might actually vote for them this time.
Do you see the two parties, the Tories and Labour, as one and the same?
Correct. That's the whole basis of our campaign. And I mean, that's explicit now, really, isn't it? You've got people literally from the right wing of the Tory party,
yeah,
like Natalie Alpica, going into Labour now and being accepted. So it's not even a kind of, it's guaranteed. I mean, you're literally voting for the same people now.
Let us know if there's, what ways can we help your campaign? I mean, is there any, if you've got like social media accounts and stuff like that we can follow? And
brilliant. Yeah, I do have an Instagram. We're doing everything through Instagram. So that's Alex Martin Edinburgh South, I believe is the handle. Yeah, so follow that if you can. I post
do you need
videos.
money? Do you need money and stuff?
Well, I mean, every little helps. We've had small donations to our crowdfunder. That's on our website. It's alexmartinmp.co.uk. But I'm very much taking the view that I'm really putting my own money up for this. And it's not that I have millions and millions, but I sold a company last year. And, you know, I really want to make clear to people that I'm doing this because of my principles. I'm doing this because I believe in what I'm doing. And it's not because someone's funding me and telling me I have to do this, have to do that. I'm not beholden to anyone. You know, I'm doing this because I believe that the people of Palestine need more people standing up for them. The people of the UK that are struggling to pay bills need people standing up for them. The pensioners that are now being, you know, the WASPy women that Labour have, you know, gone back on their pledges to, and all the rest of it. I mean, you know, I felt compelled to do this, and I've pretty much given up everything to do it. I was actually in the process of starting a new company, but I gave it all up. You know, I was in the financial sector. I could have easily been making more money there, but you know, this is really. I think what it was is with the Gaza issue, I could not get up in the morning and see children being slaughtered on the news and not put all my energy towards fixing that. I mean, I just so that's what kind of put me on this track.